Good evening and a very warm welcome to Radio and Television Tonga news package for the hour. Making headlines, His Royal Highness the Crown Prince Tupota Ulukalala commissioned the new studio building for Tonga Broadcasting Commission. Tonga returns back to normal after 2 years and 1 month of restrictions. And Tonga celebrates today the World Environmental Healthcare Day. Now I'm Vaifanato Bola with the stories in detail. And the new studio building for Tonga Broadcasting Commission was commissioned by His Royal Highness the Crown Prince Tupota Ulukalala yesterday here at Fasimoiafi, together with the completion of the nationwide early warning system project of news. The emergency siren system was also demonstrated during the event yesterday by His Royal Highness. Alice Tupo will tell you more on that story.
His Royal Highness the Crown Prince Ulukalala says in his remarks commissioned of the Tonga Broadcasting Commission new studio building and the Nation Early Warning Systems project.
Over 60 years ago, Her late Majesty Queen Salate Tupo III commissioned Tonga's first radio broadcasting studio, called the ZCO of the Tonga Broadcasting Commission, on the 4th of July 1961. In her address, she emphasized that this is a significant milestone where broadcasting and communication services transcend beyond borders to foster working together, education, and common understanding in a timely manner to achieve peace and happiness to all subjects. Today, we come to commission a completely new studio building of the Tonga Broadcasting Commission, courtesy of the nationwide Early Warning Systems project, funded by the government and the people of Japan. It is a modern system and fully equipped with a purpose and the truth to saving lives wherever and whenever is required. Our calling today is preparing ourselves to help those in need, those in despair, those who may be dying from extreme events of natural disasters and worse impact of climate change. We can just imagine that critical moment of crying out for survival. We can save them with this system. And this is resilience in facing the challenges of our time.
His Royal Highness thanked the government and the people of Japan for his kind offer. He was accompanied by Her Royal Highness Crown Princess Sinai Takala. Also present was Her Royal Highness Princess Salo de Mafle Oplolevu Tuita, Lord Tuita, and Lord Fafanua at the event. The ambassador of Japan to Tonga, His Excellency Munenaka Kensaku, said it is their hope that the news project would become an epoch-making project for Tonga. He says that this is a long-awaited project as it was supposed to be completed in August 2020.
Unfortunately, even before the historical Hunga Tonga Hunga Hapa eruption, it is an indisputable fact that the Kingdom of Tonga is very prone to natural disasters. In the 2021 World Risk Report, Tonga was ranked third among the most vulnerable countries to natural disasters. We still remember well Cyclone Gita in 2018 and Cyclone Harold in 2020, both of which caused severe damages to Tonga. Against this background and having due consultations with the government of Tonga, Japan decided to provide this general grant aid project, news project. The agreement was signed in May 2018, just a few months late after Cyclone Gita. The news project is worth about $30 million in total. It will strengthen Tonga's capacity for risk management and its resilience against disasters through the improvement of 3 systems. Number 1, emergency radio communication system. Number 2, early warning sound alert system. And number 3, medium wave radio broadcasting system. The new telecommunication system of this project covers the whole kingdom, all the way to the Ongonubus. This nationwide network is very variable and crucial in the occurrence of disasters. This warning system will work even if the submarine cable is disconnected. In reality, the submarine cable is still not yet connected between the islands. However, the new system under the news project will work nationwide by way of radio telecommunication network or satellite system.
He says in the previous system it took 90 minutes, but now thanks to the new system, it will only take 8 minutes for the warnings to resonate. The coverage of alert is also notably increased from 19% to 100% for the population living in tsunami hazard areas in Tonga.
Based on our recent experience with the Tonga Hapai volcanic eruption and tsunami, we believe Tongan people are capable of escaping tsunamis so long as there are advanced warnings. For that, news project will be surely useful and effective.
Meanwhile, the acting Prime Minister Honorable Sami Waipulu says that Tonga is the second most at-risk country in the world, vulnerable to nature disasters as the population spreads over small isolated islands, predominantly in low-lying coastal areas where response efforts are often difficult.
Vulnerability to natural disasters and the effect of climate change, like weather extremes, are expected to increase due to pressures including increased population and constrained land availability, which will force larger numbers to live in more hazard-prone areas. Hence, there is widespread acceptance of the need to strengthen disaster early warning and preparedness, to mainstream disaster risk and climate change into development planning and financing.
He also thanked Japan for their continued support and assistance at times of need to save our people from the adverse impacts of disasters and climate change. The news project, worth about $30 million in total, will strengthen Tonga's capacity for risk management and its resilience against disasters through the improvement of 3 systems: emergency radio communication system, early warning sound alert system, and medium wave radio broadcasting system. Reporting for Radio and Television Tonga News, I'm Alice Tupo.
The Cabinet has approved the decision to remove all COVID-19 restrictions. The decision comes after the National Emergency Management Committee, or NEMC, requested that the restrictions be removed. This comes as COVID-19 cases are declining in the country, and as such, the Director of Health explained during a press conference yesterday that the COVID restrictions are no longer needed, such as wearing a face mask. However, Dr. Siale Akauola also clarified that curfew hours will no longer be in effect, but people visiting the hospital will still need to be tested for COVID-19. Meanwhile, anyone traveling to Tonga from abroad will no longer be required to take a red test, and this is the first time that Tonga has reached the green light in COVID restrictions or gone back to normal after 2 years and 1 month of restrictions. Tonga and other countries in the world marked World Environmental Health Day, which is supposed to be celebrated on the 26th of September every year, which was supposed to be on Monday, but Tonga celebrates it today. Alice Tupo has more on that story.
Tonga joins other countries in the world in marking World Environmental Health Day for 2022 as it celebrates on the 26th of September every year. As such, Tonga commemorated this special day today at the Noa Hotel with the theme Strengthening Environmental Health System for Implementation of Sustainable Development Goals. Meanwhile, World Environmental Health Day has been commemorated in Tonga since 2020 with competitions amongst the school were held to mark this day for 2022, and the winners of the poetry competitions were announced during today's program. The Chief Inspector of Public Health for the Ministry of Health, Sister Serafao, during her welcoming speech this morning says the competition has assisted and promoted the interest of primary students to learn more about public health and to build a career in the future of becoming health inspectors. Meanwhile, the guest of honor, who is also the World Health Organization's representative here in Tonga, Dr. Yutaro Setoyan, delivered the keynote address highlighting that public health has a connection with a clean environment.
The climate change exacerbates and worsens environmental conditions. All countries of the Western Pacific region are threatened by the destabilization of the climate and the increased frequency of extreme weather events. For low-lying Pacific Island countries, rising sea levels threatens survival. Pacific Island countries are impacted by recurrent cyclones, floods, droughts, and also highly prone to tsunami and earthquakes, which disrupt existing infrastructure related to water, sanitation, and hygiene, or water services. In most Pacific countries, including Tonga, environmental risk factors are existing. This year, we have all experienced the Tonga volcano eruption and tsunami, which affected the water source of our country, especially in the tsunami-affected areas. The volcanic ashes has polluted the air for the following month, and the effect of it to our health are yet to be known. With the global endorsement of the 2030 Agenda for SDGs and agreement at the 21st session of the Conference of Parties to the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change in Paris, the Paris Agreement in 2015. Awareness is higher than ever. There is an urgent need for policy and action to protect and prevent further deterioration of the ecosystem on which our health and well-being rely.
The Director of Health, Dr. Selaka Walna, says that humans created these impacts, like pollutants that affected the environment and caused climate change. He adds that not only is the Ministry of Health is trying to promote a healthy lifestyle in a clean environment, but more goods need to be produced. Also, businesses need to grow, because these are the factors that will bring more income for Tonga and our economy. Reporting for Radio and Television Tonga News, I'm Alice Tupo.
The acting Prime Minister Honorable Samiu Kuitavaipulu launched a training program at the Tanoa International Dateline Hotel this week to educate participants on how to use drones on preparation for natural disasters. The MEDIC CEO, Paula Mao, said that this program was made possible in partnership with the United Nations World Food Programme through the Emergency Telecommunication Cluster.
This is quite a special training, not just another training like we used to have here, but at the end of this training drone exercise, they will be issued with a certified license so that the operators or the drone operators or pilots will be able to use them during disasters and very useful for us, especially moving to our next cyclone season starting in November, 6 months, November until April next year. Luckily, the last cyclone season, we didn't have any cyclone or any depression, tropical depressions as we used to. But unfortunately, we have the Tonga volcanic eruption and also the COVID-19 hit us. So as we believe, resilience starts from good preparation. And that's what we're doing today, preparing our people to operate before, during, and after any disaster events. So we are thankful to the John Davale from the emergency telecom cluster of the World Food Program, Sione Hufanga, for the UN systems assisting us today and this week. We are very fortunate that Tonga has been selected to start this very, very important training.
This training is facilitated by John Tavale from the United Nations, who donated 4 of the latest drones to the government. Meanwhile, there are only 4 participants in this ongoing training under the Communications Department of the Ministry of MEDEC. That wraps up this evening's news package, but before we part, here's one final look at today's top stories. His Royal Highness the Crown Prince Tupota Ulukalala commissioned the new studio building for Tonga Broadcasting Commission. Tonga returns back to normal after 2 years and 1 month of restrictions. And Tonga celebrates today the World Environmental Health Day. And that's it for tonight. Thank you for your company. I'm Vafunatu Pola. Good evening.